Hello and welcome my friend. In this video I will show you 15 useful tips and tricks you may not know about Diablo 4's endgame. No worries, this is not a basic guide with generic tips. These are 15 endgame tricks I personally learned as a spin to win barbarian player currently clearing pit 130s pretty comfortably. I wish I knew all of this earlier myself, because it would have saved me billions of gold, tons of materials, hours of farming and a few painful Horadric Cube mistakes that many players still make. I guarantee you probably don't know at least 3 or 4 of these points, so make sure to stick around until the end. And if after the video you still say, "But I already knew all of this," then congratulations my friend, you are either very well informed or you have spent a worrying amount of time in Sanctuary. Kind of like me. So with that said, let's start with the first point. First of all, check out the vendors. And yes, I know, usually in Diablo, vendors feel like they are just standing there for decoration purposes. You run past them, maybe sell some garbage, and then never think about them again. But in Lord of Hatred, you should actually take a quick look at what they are selling. Because vendors in Themis and other city hubs can offer some absolutely insane rare and magic items, even with multiple greater affixes. So if you find a strong rare with 2 or even 3 good GAs, don't ignore it. If it is good for your build, use it yourself, otherwise trade it with other players. Some of these items can sell for billions on diablotrade.com, especially with sought after affixes like all damage percentage or crit damage multipliers. And perfecting these items can be pretty simple if you use the cube correctly. But we will talk about cube tricks later. For now, the rule is simple. Whenever you are in town anyway, check the vendors quickly. It takes a few seconds and who knows, maybe the random NPC you ignored for 300 hours straight is casually holding a biz item for you. Second point. Mythic Seals are not as important as you may think they are. Yes, I said it. Of course, Mythic sounds better. It looks better, it feels better, your brain sees Mythic and immediately goes, yes, this must be good. But not always my friend. A strong legendary seal with 6 slots and an extra set bonus effect can actually beat a bad Mythic seal with ease. So don't just equip something because the rarity looks more expensive. Actually compare what the item does for your build. Does it give you the affix you need? And does the extra set bonus effect help you? Before you replace your legendary 6 slot seal, compare it properly. And by the way, you can even trade legendary seals. So if you are not lucky with drops or cube gambles, go fish for them through trading. Point number 3. Did you know that basically everything can come with GAs? And yes, that not only includes magic and rare items, but also unique charms and set charms. They are extremely rare, and with rare I mean way harder to obtain than mythics at this point, but a charm with the right effect and strong greater affixes in each slot can become a completely different level of power. This is why gambling for charms can be way more interesting than it looks at first. So don't sleep on charms in your endgame min-maxing process. Go gamble for them, go trade for them. And if you hit a crazy one, congratulations. You can now pretend it was skill and not luck. Point number 4. You should never use the Entropic tuning prisms as your last step of perfecting your item. Because yes, we all know what the transfigure button is. This is the I know this is risky, but maybe I am the chosen one button. And to be fair, in the endgame you kind of have to YOLO it anyway. Most of us already know this can go wrong. But here is the part some players may not know. You can actually transfigure your items multiple times if you get super lucky. After your transfiguration, check your item tooltip carefully. Normally you will see the red text saying the item is now unmodifiable. If that red text appears, congratulations, the item is done, for better or worse. But if you transfigure your item and that red text does not appear, then you got lucky my friend, you got a bonus roll. That means you may be able to continue working on the item. So always check the tooltip after transfiguration. Don't just assume the item is locked. If the red text is there, you are done. If it is not there, enjoy the rare moments where Diablo decides not to emotionally damage you for once. And another thing, don't forget your aspect power and gem slots before this very last step on a serious item. Point number 5. You can basically target craft uniques for the slot you need. Go for this to the purveyor of curiosities and gamble the item slot you are looking for with your murmuring obols. Then take the rare or magic ancestral items you get, remove the affixes in the cube and make the item clean and white. After that you can upgrade it into a random unique from that item slot. This is extremely useful if you need a specific unique fast to get your build rolling. And even later in the endgame it can help when you are fishing for upgrades. Point number 6. Did you know that you can fully avoid the lockdown of your skills in the Mephisto fight in phase 3? This is one of those small tricks that can make the fight feel much better. After the transition cutscene into phase 3 ends, run very fast toward the lower side of the screen. If you do this fast enough, the wave will not catch up to you. And if the wave does not catch you, your skills will not get locked down. So after the cutscene, don't just stand there and admire Mephisto's dramatic ugliness. Run down, run fast, avoid the wave completely. It makes phase 3 much smoother and can save you a lot of frustration. And now before we go on to the next tip, if you want more endgame tips, boss guides, farming tests and crafting tricks in the future, hit that subscribe button. It's a small action for you, but it helps me and my channel a lot and it's completely free for you. So a big thank you in advance and back to the video. Point number 7. Did you know that you don't need to literally do anything special in the Undercity to still get your activity XP for your war plan? This is very useful if you just want to finish your war plan quickly. I did many of these runs without using any keys and without fully clearing the activity. I basically ran through the 3 Undercity floors very fast, went straight to the boss room, killed the boss and got the activity progress. So if your goal is war plan progression, you don't always need to treat every Undercity run like a full vacation tour. Just run through, get to the boss, finish the activity and move on. And if you combine this especially with pits and lair bosses, you can finish each war plan very quickly, often in under 5 to 6 minutes. So the important question is not always, how do I maximize this activity? Sometimes the better question is, how do I finish this as fast as possible and move on to the next one? Because time is also a resource and unlike gold, gear and materials, we unfortunately cannot farm more of it from random demons. Point number 8. Did you know that there are Nemesis Lairs, Greater Nemesis Lairs and even Ultimate Nemesis Lairs in Diablo 4 now? But be careful with the Ultimate Nemesis Lair. To open this last version, you need 5 Betrayer husks in your inventory. The versions before that are free, but every portal disappears after around 30 seconds. Actiblists apparently decided to add this very fun little pressure mechanic for whatever reason. So, when the portal opens, don't stand there comparing loot like you are shopping for furniture. Pick up your stuff quickly, enter the portal first and clean your inventory once you are inside before starting the boss fight. Also, if you are farming one uber boss over and over again and you get a Nemesis lair, make sure to reset dungeons after the lair clears. Otherwise, on the next proc, the game can send you back into the same lair you already emptied, which is very funny, kind of, unless it happens to you. The next ones are where it gets really interesting, especially when it comes to farming, crafting, trading and gambling. Point number 9. The 2 end bosses in Lord of Hatred equipment wise are basically A. Uniques, because these can now roll completely random stats, and B. Who would have thought? Gems. Especially the flawless Horadric gem as the last pinnacle gem. And yes, of course these are powerful. Of course you eventually want the best version. But if you don't want to no-life this game, don't even attempt to grind max gems in every slot purely by solo farming. It is not realistic over the course of a normal season for a normal player. And by normal, I mean someone who occasionally sleeps, eats, studies, works or remembers that sunlight out there still exists. I don't care how often and how fast you pump through Sears Reach. Do it the clever way. Trade, trade again, and then trade some more. If you want flawless Horadric gems, use the economy. Trying to farm everything yourself is the fastest lane to burnout. Sometimes the smartest endgame strategy is not killing more monsters. Sometimes it is realizing that another player already suffered for the item that you need. Tip number 10. You can get to higher keys much more easily now with the Horadric Cube. For Undercity for example, you can upgrade 5 lower rank keys into the next rank. This way you can work your way up to Mythic Keys much more consistently. And the same idea also works with Nightmare Dungeon keys, which can be now transformed into Escalation keys. So don't just let all your lower keys rot in your stash forever. Go to the cube, upgrade them and turn them into something more powerful. Point number 11. Did you know that you can not only recycle 3 uniques and unique charms into a new one, but that this also works with Mythics in the Horadric Cube? You heard right. If you have 3 standard Mythics without GAs sitting around, you have a choice. You can play it safe and convert them to sparks, or if you are in gambling mood, you can throw 3 of them into the cube and convert them into a new one. Of course, you go -1 spark here, but you save gold and runes. And let's be honest, there is no shortage of Resplendent sparks this time around. You might even get lucky and hit some GAs. For example, I found my double GA Hair of Perdition like this. So don't just let bad mythics rot in your stash. Either convert them safely or gamble them if you feel lucky. But please don't blame me afterwards if the cube gives you emotional damage instead of a jackpot. Point number 12. Did you know that you can lock down an affix before rerolling in your Horadric Cube? This one is extremely useful. Before you go to the cube, go to the enchanter first. Select the affix on your item that you want to save and protect. For example, let's say you have a very strong GA affix that you absolutely do not want to lose. You enchant that affix once. Then when the options appear, you click no change. Now this affix is locked down, even in its GA state. After that you can go to the Horadric Cube and add affixes, reroll or remove other stats on your item while perfecting it. This makes it much easier to get perfected legendaries pretty safely. So, before you start gambling with a valuable item, lock down the most important affix first. Point number 13. You can now get your needed aspects much faster with the Horadric Cube. Before Lord of Hatred, we basically had 0 real reason to craft items at our beloved blacksmith. But with the Horadric Cube, this actually has a purpose now. You can craft random rare items, then go to the cube, upgrade them cheaply into legendaries, and suddenly you have a mass production system for random aspects for your class. This is especially useful if you want to get aspects fast on an old character. Instead of waiting forever until the correct legendary aspect drops naturally, you can craft rare items, upgrade them and check which aspects you get. Even on your main character, this can help if you are still trying to improve or level up specific aspects. Of course, you can also use gambling at the purveyor of curiosities for this purpose. But now, in general, crafting items is no longer completely pointless, which is cool in my opinion. It is basically an aspect factory. And believe it or not, with enough luck you can also get super useful items through this with multiple GAs even for usage or trading. 2 birds with 1 stone. Point number 14. Right now, Forgotten Souls are probably the #1 bottleneck material when it comes to crafting, enchanting, tempering and masterworking, especially in the endgame. But there is a little trick if you need some fast and don't want to grind another extra hour for them. Go to the alchemist and turn your veiled crystals into Forgotten Souls. This is super handy when you are in an upgrade session and suddenly fall short on these damn souls. And a short extra tip here, I don't use the loot filter at all right now, because every item you don't pick up and salvage in the endgame is basically lost Forgotten Souls. This is especially true for unique drops at Uber bosses. So don't just leave them laying around. Pick them up and salvage them, otherwise you will very quickly wonder why you are constantly out of Forgotten Souls. Don't forget and leave behind these poor souls. This season they really managed to make the material name fit perfectly. And last but not least, Transfiguration while leveling alts is actually insane. Let's show our alt characters some love too here. On your main character, you usually care a lot more about not bricking your perfect items. But while leveling an alt, who cares? You are going to replace those items anyway. So this is the perfect time to YOLO Transfiguration early. Use it on items you know are temporary, enjoy the huge power boost and don't cry if the item becomes unmodifiable. Because let's be honest, that item was going to the trash in 10 or 20 levels anyway. So give it a meaningful purpose until then. Especially in lower tier content, the power spike from early Transfiguration can feel ridiculous. So for alts, don't be too conservative. Use the cube system early, get free power, blast through the leveling process faster. so you can enjoy more time in the endgame earlier. So those were my most important tips and tricks you may not know about Diablo 4's new endgame. If at least one of these helped you, leave a like if you haven't done so already, so this video reaches more players through the algorithm. Also show it to your gaming buddies and become their new best gaming friend by giving them access to the giant knowledge from this video. They will respect you more now, at least for a little while. And let me know in the comments which tip was new to you, or which cool trick can you personally share that I didn't mention here. And if you want to fix your lag issues in Diablo 4 and boost your FPS, you may want to watch this video next. See you there.